Again, two of our candidates have not yet shown, Ms. Castor and Mr. Prendergast, but we will continue on. We will start the questions. Each of you will have, as soon as I learn how to operate this thing, 3 minutes to, it's complicated. It's got like 2 buttons on this now. To answer the question. Each of you will get to answer the question. And then we will switch the order that we ask the question the next time. Okay. All right. Let's start with Ms. Castor. Okay, never mind.
She had a flat tire on the way in.
Oh, bless her heart. Hope she knows how to change it. She just filled it with air, saving so much oil. Let's start with Mr. Castellano. Mr. Castellano, is the nearly $900 billion stimulus package working? And what do you propose be done with the remaining balance?
The stimulus package hasn't worked, and it hasn't created not one new job. What it has done, anyone that went to the states took it and saved the jobs that they have already, and those were government jobs. They haven't really created any new jobs in the private sector. What should have been done with the remaining money, they need to get it back to the taxpayer so that they can put it in their pocket so they can have something to spend it on. You can't stimulate the economy by taking away from the taxpayer, giving it to somebody in hopes that it's going to come back down to the taxpayer so he can spend the money. It really doesn't work that way. What you have to do is you have to put the money in their pocket so that they can spend the money and create some revenue for some of the little stores and mom and pop operations and work it that way. But to bail out the banks, the banks kept the money and what the banks did. As a matter of fact, I got hurt real bad in our 401k, and what that did, and the people that did it to me made millions of dollars through the stimulus package. So being a small businessman, I feel the pain because I get hit just like everybody else gets hit. So no, the billions of dollars that went to the stimulus didn't work, and it's not working now, and that's the only thing it's doing is making China rich through the interest.
Right.
Mr. Curtis, same question. I'll repeat it if you need me to repeat it. The question is the nearly $900 billion stimulus package working, and what do you propose be done with the remaining balance?
The short answer is it depends on who you're asking if it's working for. Mr. Castellano rightly points out it's working real well for the Chinese. I don't think that was the intention. Is it working to do anything for the American economy? Very, very little. Did it create some more federal jobs and save some state and federal jobs? It did. But that was the worst possible thing that they could have done to the economy, because to remove those dollars from the private sector, that means the private sector, small businesses like myself, Mr. Castellano, and others, we have to compete for those dollars. When you take those dollars out of the private sector, it diminishes my capability, my capacity to create new jobs, real revenue creating jobs. So the short answer is no, really, it's not working. The balance should be returned so that we can reduce our debt, deficit, and interest. I finished before the buzzer.
I will not operate this before we go home, I promise. Mr. Adams, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
The question is the nearly $900 billion stimulus package working, and what do you propose be done with the remaining balance?
Well, first of all, the question is a little ambiguous because there was 2 nearly $900 billion stimulus package, Stimulus 1 and Stimulus 2, and neither one of them have been effective. And I personally have a problem with somebody look me in my face and tell me I lie, and I know they lying, and they still tell you to lie. And we both know you're lying So I have a problem with that. And they said that that money was going to be used to stimulate the economy, create new jobs, put people back to work. No one has went back to work. $2 trillion later, the economy is worse off than it was when we started with stimulus one, which was in October. And the other thing you got to take in consideration is the new jobs. They took the money, did two things. They created slush funds for candidates for the future. That's why it hasn't been spent. And what they did was they gave it to the states, and they made puppets of the states. So now the states are dependent upon billions of dollars of federal money that will not be around for the next 2 or 3 years. So the state of Florida took $5 billion in money from the federal government. Okay, in 2 years when that money is no longer around and we got a budget that's $5 billion over, we have no way to make that money up. So that's how the federal government controls the states. They took that money from the people, took it out of circulation, took it out of the pockets of citizens like you and me, and I have a problem with people stealing from me. Stealing is stealing. It don't matter whether it's your neighbor or the federal government. When they take something from you that you worked hard for and they have no way of paying it back to you, I have a problem with that. And the federal government stole $2 trillion from its people, and you have nothing to show for it.
Very well. Next question has to do with the state of Florida. Oh, I'm sorry. Tony, I'm so sorry. Look at it, look at him. He looks so sad now. I almost feel bad. Okay, I'll repeat the question for you. I will start. Pretty good job. Oh, Mr. Buntyn, you've done been great. Is the nearly $900 billion stimulus package working, and what do you propose be done with the remaining balance?
Well, I think, like Tim said, it's working for some people. The investment bankers, I think they think it's working correct. They were able to keep their jobs, pay their bonuses, and continue to have the lavish parties. So if you ask them, it's working great. But I agree with Ed that the money was it was all about jobs. In early 2009, the congressmen were yelling, jobs, jobs, jobs. If you don't pass this bill, unemployment will reach 10%. It was at 7.5% then. And it's 10% now. In Florida, it's 12 point something. So what happened? We passed it, and we still didn't create any jobs, any private sector jobs. We have created or saved a lot of government jobs, but the government has got to understand how to reduce their spending, just like we have. You can't run your family budget like the government does. You wouldn't plan to spend $1.5 trillion more than you take in next year. You plan to spend probably what you take in. But if times are hard, you plan to spend less. The government's got to do the same thing. They have to learn to live within their means. That's our money. That's not their money. And it's not anyone else's money. It is taxpayer money. The government's got to spend it wisely and learn when to cut back.